Greetings, opera lovers. It's Rona Sutton in Pittsburgh. Last night I went to see an event that is part of the Pittsburgh Jewish Music Festival. It is an opera I did not know called the Dybbuk, and you'll pardon me while I read from my program because the names of the performers and the composer were new to me. The composer of this version of the Dybbuk is an Israeli composer whose name is Ofer Ben Amotz, and his last name is hyphenated, Ben/Amots. He wrote the music and the words. He based it on the play that was written at the beginning of the 20th century called the Dybbuk. And that play is based on the folk tale, the Dybbuk. For those of you who don't know what that is, it's sort of a lost soul looking to inhabit another body. The performance that was done at the Hazlitt Theater here in Pittsburgh was extraordinary. Kudos to everyone involved. It was a multimedia event, so there were projections on the walls, there were dancers, singers, musicians, and 2 choruses. What made this evening so special were the individual parts that helped to create a total event. The opera is basically the story of a young woman who is going to be married but feels compelled not to marry because her first fiancé is dead, and she loved him and wanted to marry him, but they never married. And now she is going to be married again, but the soul of her first fiancé inhabits her, and so therefore she's unable to fulfill her new obligation. Playing the lead role of Leah was an Israeli performer whose name is Yali Torin. She's a singer, a dancer, an actress, and she's beautiful. She was required to do all of the above in extraordinary ways, and she accomplished everything very well. As a singer, she used a head mic, as did everyone, which was completely appropriate, as they all had to move around the stage many times, not facing the audience, and it would have been too distracting to hear them in a way that was full and then in a way that was sort of shadowed. So this way they were always even with the ensemble that was playing with them. The ensemble was amazing. They had a violinist, Jonathan Magnus, a cellist, Bronwyn Bannert. Playing the piano was Shira Shaked, and the percussion was George Willis. But the person who really did the most work was the clarinetist. He played her first intended husband. His name is Gilad Harel, also an Israeli. He played the clarinet and was, although he had no lines, he also was an actor in the play. I don't know how he memorized the part that he had to play. A lot of the music sounded like klezmer music. A lot of the music was very richly composed and would have taken an enormous effort to memorize, which obviously he did. Excuse me. The other musicians who did not participate in the acting, who were sitting around, all had music in front of them. They were able to read from the scores. But the clarinetist had to do all of this while dancing, acting, and playing the clarinet fantastically. So really outstanding bravos, extra bravos to Gilad Harel. Others in the cast were, I'm not going to pronounce anybody's name correctly, Gwenko Guechev, a baritone who played Rabbi Azriel, who tries to exorcise the Dybbuk from Leah. He was very good. He had a wonderful color to his voice. And the composer, who I'll speak about later, gave him some music to sing, which is reminiscent of the old Chazanut style of singing, which, if you don't know what that is, that's where the old Chazans would get up and just wail away, singing very intricate melismatic passages. And he was required to do that at one point. He did a very good job. The other people in the cast were Leon S. Zients, who's an actor who played Zender, who is Leia's father, and from the program notes, he's a local actor. The other people were all brought in from abroad, many of them, or if not all of them, who had done this in the world premiere. We also had Celia Cangiano, a little girl who played the played the groom and an angel. And I believe I sat next to her father during the performance. A very proud papa. You would wonder, how could a little girl play the groom? Well, they put her in a wonderful puppet costume. So she was there, and then perched on top of her was this big puppet head. It was really very theatrical. In fact, the whole performance was very theatrical. I would like to mention the dancing, which I thought was fantastic. It was, the ballet dancers are from a local company here called Texture Ballet, which the director is Alan Obuzor, and he did most of the dancing. But the choreographer was Joan Wagman, a name I do not know, and perhaps she was involved in the premiere of this opera. But the dancers were so terrific, I'd like to mention them as well. But I can't find their names on this page. But they were all really good. To me, the highlight of the evening came when the children's chorus came out. Who knew there was this unbelievable, fantastic children's chorus in Pittsburgh? Apparently it's been here for 29 years. I did not know of it. It is called the Children's Festival Chorus. The director is a woman named Christine Jordanoff. She did an outstanding job. The children had to sing this music, which, while it wasn't really highly atonal or difficult, it was not like Bach, Beethoven, or Mozart either. And their pitch was exquisite. Their ensemble was fantastic, and they all did it from memory. And they also were wonderful in their stillness. A lot of times you see choral members moving around, whatever. They were just perfectly still, following the hands of their conductor. Aaron Zelkowitz, who is a cellist here in Pittsburgh and is the founder of the Pittsburgh Music Festival, was the director of this event. It was called an opera, but it was really a multimedia event. Who knew Aaron had so many talents? He did a very good job directing this opera. I'd like to spend a few minutes talking about the music. The composer really called upon all the aspects of what I would call Jewish-themed music, which has a very rich heritage. I already mentioned that one of the singers had to sing in a Chazanut style. The woman who plays Leah, the lead character, in her biography, it mentions that she sings a lot of Ladino songs, and you could hear the influence of Ladino music in this as well as old liturgical music. So I really have to give great praise to the composer for integrating all the styles of Jewish music without making it seem like you were going to the synagogue. It had a very theatrical flair. The program itself was really wonderful. I'd like to show you something quite interesting. This was the program which described all the scenes that you were going to see. My only comment that I would make to have made this performance better would have been to have had the things that were going on. As you can see, it says Act 1, Love and Death, and it explains what's going on. for that to have been on the super titles, because that would have helped your understanding of the action that was going on. All in all, it was a great theatrical event. I felt that the first two acts, which were done without intermission, and then there was a small intermission, and then Act 3, the first two acts had some slower parts that I would have preferred to have been made more compact. But then again, I feel that way about Wagner and almost all of bel canto operas. So the composer is in very good company, maybe going on a little too long, maybe a little snip here, there. For me, would have made it better. Maybe for others, they were pining for more music. I don't know. So congratulations to everyone involved in this production. And I'd like to make a little note to anybody who watches this, who might be a director of a small opera company someplace else. I would definitely look into this for a performance in your regional theater. It's a very good multimedia event, and the audience seemed to love it. My husband and I were very glad we went, and to support such a worthwhile artistic endeavor. Hope you will all enjoyed this little talk, and there's one more performance on Sunday. Buy tickets. Bye.